All right, welcome back to Variety Homestead. If you haven't been to the channel before, what we do is we just live life out here in the country where we moved to almost 5 years ago now. And I'm going to documenting some things that we've done over the last several years that we've already done that you won't be able to see me actually build. But I think it's important to show what we have done, because if you decide to take this journey, if you decide to do homesteading or a version of it, then what you're going to end up finding out is that it takes a long time to do a little bit of stuff. There's money considerations, there's time considerations, all that stuff. So I'm going to now show a tour of the smokehouse that I built last April. So April of 2023. So this is a smokehouse, and it's basically a 5x4 box on cinder blocks. And I'm going to go zoom in and going to show you some, and there's Roy. He's out here pecking and searching for some food, and here comes a couple of more birds. They all they move around the yard, and they get what they want as they forage. Which, by the way, if you have chickens, or if you're going to get chickens, your big deal is going to be to try to let them forage as much as possible, because it saves a lot on the food bill. So what I'm going to do is come in really close to this whole thing, and we're going to take a tour of what this thing looks like up close. All right, what we got here is some cinder block construction. I got 2 rows of cinder blocks. Like I said, we're about a 4x5 dimension here. And then you roll on up, and these are just 1x8 non-pressure treated pine. And you can see how that works out. And I cut this stuff with, made my own shiplap with it actually, and custom fitted. I put a thermometer right here, got this off of the web, looked around at a bunch of them, wanted one that would give me enough detail on the temperature. You can see right now it looks like it's about 67 degrees inside the box, which is about consistent with what it is outside here right now. And I bought some hardware. I already had these hinges. I already had this handle, but I bought this bolt lock. Not that you need anything that heavy duty, but I kind of wanted to keep it in a slightly thematic, if at all possible. And I have huge respect for brick and block workers. This was very difficult for me to do. It took me a long time to do it. And we have a tin roof, and that is just where the ridge beam sticks out. And walking over here, what you see is I made a slope here on this really far out. What you have here is where I store all my wood. So we have about 10 pecan trees out here. So I use a lot of pecan wood in smoking, as you can probably guess. And then I have some scrap stuff to start the fire with in here. And then there's some hickory here and over on the other side, and some buckets, and then just stacked. You can see there's apple. I have a fair amount of apple that my neighbor gave me that he got, and I got some oak. Down here, what you see is my firebox, and this is actually a firebox that you can buy separately. It goes with a char griller smoker grill combo, and if you want to do an offset smoker, you can attach this to that char griller. But you can also just buy the offset box itself. So that's what I did, and it was like, I think it was around $80. And it is connected to a 5-inch pipe, and you open it up and you see where it's just the firebox in there. And if you can look in there, you can see where it goes from there to it travels about 6 feet to the center of the smokehouse, and it comes up. I put an elbow in there, and we're going to the back side of the smokehouse. So you can see up here, there's a hole up here. Now what the deal is with that is I took some metal screen and I stapled it on the inside. I made this hole on purpose so that the smoke could escape. And then I took a piece of tin and just overhung it so that straight down rain would not rain inside the smoker itself, which leads me to confess and to a flaw that I did when I built this doggone thing. So I said it was about 4x5, and that is true. The problem is, as you can see, the lip edge on all my tin going all the way down, and right here on the short side. I got a decent overhang here, but this is a mighty thin overhang. As a matter of fact, it's really too thin. So if you go around here to the front side, you can see the same thing. It's just barely overhanging, and then right there, it's like almost dead even. And that's really not a good thing, because I need a bigger overhang. So I think what I'm gonna do is, I do have some additional tin that my neighbor gave me, and I think what I'm gonna end up doing is pulling out the end screws and then screwing down some additional tin on both sides, maybe split a sheet in half so that I can get a little bit of an overhang. That was, I don't know what I was thinking when I did that, but it didn't turn out so great. So we're gonna open this thing up. It's stuck. We've had some rain, so we've had a little humidity. So what I'm gonna do here is open this thing up so you can see the inside and see what it looks like. Hey, there's a couple of hams hanging in here. So hopefully my phone camera will adjust. If you look up there in the back, there's the hole. Look up here in the rafters. You see just plain standard rafters with the tin screwed down straight to the rafters. And I filled in gaps with some 1x as much as I could. It smells great in here, by the way. Just basic wall construction. So what I did was I just took 2x4s and made frames and stood them up, screwed them together, and then I had me a little house. And then I took rafters, and I had to hand make those, but took the rafters and put those up there. And then I spoke shaved down some wooden poles. These are oak, red oak, I think. And I had some, my wife bought these for me. I gave some to my neighbor. These are for hanging bacon. I have done bacon. I've done bacon, jowl, and side meat. After curing it, of course, then I cold smoked it. These are 2 hams I smoked weekend before last and last weekend. They've been curing for, I'd say several months now. And then they got put into the smokehouse, and they smoked all last Saturday and all the weekend before that. So back to the construction. So I also built a shelf in here that holds some racks one of my neighbors gave me, that I can take those poles, drop them down here, and then put those racks on. And then there's a support there, a bench there. I can put those poles down here and then put the racks on top. There's the elbow that comes up at 6 feet from the end of the from the firebox. It travels under and it comes up. Now all of this is crush and run. So I cemented in the block at the corners where I put those bolts, as you can see them right there, and then they're over here, and they're in the front as well. And then the rest of the holes in the cinder block I just filled with crush and run. And then I filled crush and run inside here. So you see how that works out. And by the way, this was not my original design. I did see this, a couple of different versions of this on YouTube, and I thought it would be really cool to build one. So inside of the panels door, inside the door here, you see just 2x4 construction. These are with screws. The all of the boards out here are nailed in. They are not screwed in. I used 3-inch standard ring shank nails, and people say, well, why didn't you screw them? Why did you nail them? And the basic reason was I put a lot in there. Oh, this thing slipped. Put a lot of nails in here all the way around, and the nails were way cheaper than the screws. There are screws here in the door, as you can see. And so those I did use screws on. I'm gonna shut this thing up. Well, actually, I'll leave it open for a few minutes so you can see more about the inside. So this took me 6 weekends to build. Started it in March and finished it at the end of April of 23. And it was still cool enough that I was able to do some bacon. We had purchased a slaughtered pig, a butchered pig, and I got the bacon and all the side meat with it. I requested that to be brought as well, and so we got all that, and I decided to use that, and we made some bacon, and it was absolutely delicious. Here's another depiction of where I keep the wood, buckets, totes, as you can see there. And let me see if I can get down here far enough. I can't, but if you can look in between those pallets there, you can see where all I did was I took a 5-inch pipe and put it through one of the holes in the cinder block. I turned it on its side, and then I put some bricks on the other side to block up the hole there. Now I'll try to get in here where it can be seen. Hopefully you can see it. And if you can, then when I backfilled with the crush and run, it sealed it up. No smoke gets out. No critters get in. So it's pretty cool. Pallets here. Basically, I just built a framework here and got a pallet. A nice, sturdy, strong pallet that was in really good shape. And it holds all the weight I want it to hold. And another shot here of the rafters and what I did there. There's a video, there's a couple of videos out there about how these things are made, and I followed it somewhat. So if you want to do a search on YouTube, I don't have any links to send to you, but again, I did a variation of it. So I'm going to pause for a moment, and then we'll come back and we'll finish up.